it's Paula. I don't feel like being on camera today, so this is just my voice. Today I wanted to share the 15 books that I've published so far. And if you have any interest in writing, please know that if I can publish a book, you can too. So if there is a book that you want to publish, please do it. The world needs your story, so don't hold back. I'm telling you, it's not that hard. If I can do it, you can too. So yeah, here are some of the books that I published. So if you feel like reading something over dramatic and weird, have at it. I'll start with the most recent. Sorry, that was my phone making a noise. I'll start with the most recent book I published. It's called Ready, Set, Launch, Take Flight with Self-Publishing. And it is all about how to self-publish a book. It's very simple and it breaks down the steps into easy to follow steps. I use that word too much. Steps. So if you want to publish a book, that is the book for you. Next is a book it's for middle grade readers, which is like about 8 years old to probably about 12. And it is called Stuck at Camp Whatever. And this is loosely based on Pride and Prejudice, except for the characters are teenagers and preteens, and they are at a camp, and the genders are flipped. So Elizabeth Bennet becomes a boy named Benny. I can't pronounce his last name. It's very Italian. It's Giramento or something like that. I wrote it and I can't pronounce his name. That's sad. But anyway, he plays Elizabeth Bennet basically. And Mr. Darcy is a little girl who is named Willa. So they hate each other from the get-go, and then you know what happens. But it's all from the perspective of children. Now, there is another book that I will try to publish today or tomorrow. It's all done pretty much. It's a children's book. It is called My Friend Jack Has Celiac. And it is because a lot of children these days are being diagnosed with celiac disease. And it can be really, really difficult for an adult to navigate that illness, which is what I do because I have celiac disease, let alone a child. So the book is just to kind of introduce celiac disease to children, explain what it is in a way that's not scary and frightening, and explain how people with celiac disease can still have full, enjoyable lives. Okay, so hopefully that'll be published soon. All right, moving on. A next book that I wrote, this one's really weird, guys. It's called Love Story. And it's basically about a woman from New Orleans. She seems like she's got it all together, but your girl is tired. She is just tired. She's tired of her life. And it's all about how she loves the people in her life, but she's tired. That's really what the book is about. It's very strange. It's really weird. So if you don't like strange and weird, don't get it. But it's a book like of short stories from different characters' perspectives, but they all have a connection to this one woman. So yeah, it's a weird one. The next book is called Engaged to a Stranger. And this one, it's about a woman named Maggie Lindenberg who gets engaged to this man she barely knows named Brian Wells. And basically it's because she's desperate. And Brian is a big weirdo. But she's so desperate, she's like, you know what? Maybe this weirdo is cool. And then she realizes he might be trying to like kill her or something. So this one is a bit of a mystery, but you know, it is written by a goofy person, me, so there's a lot of goofiness in it. The next book is called Basic, and this is for young adult readers, really for anyone. This book is probably the one I'm most proud of. It does have typos, it's not perfect, let's be honest, but it's the one that I feel like I relate to almost more than any of my other books. It's about this 16-year-old named Amanda Hollister. Her mother is Black. Her father is like Irish American. They are divorced. So she only spends time with her mother now. And the thing is, her mother is a con artist. So her mother basically drags her around the country from state to state, conning rich men out of their money. But then they move to this small Texas town, and for the first time, Amanda starts to make friends with other kids her age, and she starts to want to settle down, and oddly enough, her mother does too. But Amanda starts to realize that as she makes more friends and love becomes a big part of her life, she starts to realize that what she's grown up around, her mother's influence may not have been the best. So she has to make a choice at the end of the book. Is she going to be like her mother and possibly do something that might hurt her mother, or is she going to side with her mother? So I really like this book because it does delve into topics of like race and the difficulties that come with being a quote-unquote minority in the US of A, and also parent-daughter issues too. The next book, it also talks about celiac, but this one is for adults. It is called My New Best Frenemy, and it's about this young woman who's sort of like a very free-spirited artist, and she moves to Texas. Why am I so obsessed with Texas? I have never lived there in my life. But anyway, she moves to Texas, and she meets this older woman who she instantly becomes friends with. And the older woman even like lets her live with her. They're roommates for a little bit. But then the older woman, she realizes, she's kind of weird, and she might be like trying to hurt her. So she has to figure out, is her new friend a friend or a frenemy? Or something worse. Next book. This one, I don't know. I like the cover of it. It's called You, Me, and Reality. I like the cover, and I like the first half of it, but the second half gets super weird. So I don't know if anybody really wants to read this, but it is about a woman named Luann Smith who's always wanted to be an actor in Los Angeles. But she lives in kind of like a poor area of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And she works in a bakery, so she feels like all of her dreams are just never going to come true. She feels stuck and hopeless. But then one day, guess what happens? A producer from Los Angeles, Hollywood, walks into her bakery. And Luann finds herself being offered a position on a reality show. So, sorry about that noise. It's my phone again because I am recording my voice on a voice app on my phone. Anyhow, Luann finds herself going to LA to take part in a reality show. But as she embarks on her new adventure, she also realizes that some of Hollywood's terrain is dangerous. Smiles can be fake, promises are frequently broken, and dreams are all too easily crushed. So the question is, will she find success in Los Angeles, or will her dreams come crashing back down to reality? So, I don't know. Do what you want with that book. It's okay. It's all right. The next one is called Heat. This is a parody. It's a parody. It's not meant to be real. It's just a parody. It's supposed to be a comedy that is loosely based on the Jack Reacher series, which I love and have been obsessed with for a while. But also, Jack Reacher is written in a very a way that I would call sexist and disturbing. So the book Heat has a main character who is very similar to Jack Reacher, and there are quite a few sexist things in this book, but they are meant to be laughed at. Like, oh my God, this is so sexist. It's crazy, ha ha ha. But anyhow, Heat is about a retired CIA operative named Pete Strong, who has spent most of his life slowly walking away from exploding vehicles, boats, buildings, mountains, and the occasional exploding killer robot. For nearly 20 years, he's been the CIA's most decorated point man, taking out entire armies on his own. Also, he is devilishly handsome. But he is retired now, and all he wants to do is watch daytime TV and hang out with this waitress who he has not fallen in love with. Definitely not, because he never falls in love. But he just can't seem to get enough of her. Her name is April, and he just is maybe obsessed with her a little bit. But then all of a sudden, a private eye interrupts his newfound peace, and tells him he needs to search for a missing person who happens to be an internationally beloved Olympic athlete who might have been kidnapped or something like that. So Pete Strong is back in action, and a bunch of stuff happens. Things blow up. People chase him. He gets in fights. And he also discovers that there's something strange about his past. Dun, dun, dun. This book, I think it's funny, but I have a weird sense of humor, so I honestly don't know if anyone else will. But it's full of sarcasm and over-dramatics. Oh, I said that weird. Over-dramatics. So if you're a fan of sarcasm and over-dramatics, you might like this book. Or maybe not. I don't know. The next book, actually, these are a series. They are the South Louisiana, I can't talk. These are the South Louisiana High book series books. And they are all centered around teenagers who go to a school in Louisiana, and also the teachers who teach them at those schools. So some of the books are written from the perspective of the teenagers, while other novels within the series are written from the perspective of the adult teachers at their school. But the thing is, this is a sci-fi fantasy adventure series. It's sort of like Gossip Girl meets X-Men, because a lot of the people who these books are about have like powers because they are mutants. Yeah, that's what that is about. And all of the books start with the title almost, or start with the word almost in their title. So the first book in the series, this is a 6-part series. The first book is called Almost Fair. The main character is Karen Lyles. She is 16 and she is the only hearing member of her deaf family. So her little sister's deaf, her mother and father are deaf. Everyone's deaf except for her. So she feels kind of left out, like the odd one out in her family. But then she finds out that, also I forgot to mention, she actually lives in Alabama. So this series starts off in Alabama. She lives in a small town that is protected by a superhero who people call Unseen, because the superhero seems to have the power of invisibility. But Karen ends up meeting Unseen. And by the end of the book, I'm just going to tell you, Karen gets special powers. Okay? But there's a lot more to it than that. I will say I do like the topics that this book brings up. Like, for example, it talks about some of the struggles that deaf people have to deal with. It really does delve into that. And I think that's something a lot of us hearing people kind of don't know a lot about, generally speaking. But also it has that whole sci-fi side to it. So, yeah. The next book in the series is Almost Friends. And this is about a racist cheerleader. Yay! Mia Winston Reeves. She's the most popular girl at South Louisiana High. She has it all and she knows it. She is beautiful. She has brains. She has money. But what her friends don't know is that she deals with abuse at home. And she also deals with the fact that she feels detached from her boyfriend. He might be gorgeous, like handsome, the most handsome boy at school. And he might be like amazing, but she feels like there's this distance between them and she doesn't know why. And then on top of everything else, Mia develops a superpower or a strange ability that sort of takes over her life and she isn't sure how to even use it. So the book is about her learning not to be racist, first of all, and learning to navigate life with her new superpower. Next book in the series is called Almost Twins. Sorry about that noise. That was my phone again. And this is about two sisters who attend South Louisiana High School. Their names are Gia and Andy Moretti. And they get in a lot of fights because they're complete opposites. Andy is like a female, younger version of Steven Spielberg. And her sister Gia is like this know-it-all perfectionist who only cares about school and politics and whatever. So but they have to work together when it comes to figuring out who the invisible superhero in their town is and why things are like getting weird. That was a bad explanation. But yeah, it's about siblings and stuff. This next book, I think it's one of my favorite in the whole South Louisiana High series. It's called Almost Famous. And it is about Drew Everett, who is a 15-year-old starlet from Los Angeles, California. So she's part of the Hollywood scene, but because her mother has addiction issues, and there is a great addiction rehab clinic in Louisiana, Drew ends up moving to South Louisiana High. So she joins Mia and the two other sisters who we talked about, Gia and Andy Moretti, at South Louisiana High School. And when she gets there, she realizes there's something strange about this town. And the strange thing is that it's full of mutants, people with superpowers. And then some of those people kidnapped the boy who she's crushing on. So she has to save the boy that she loves. And it's all about her saving his life. And also learning not to be a snob and learning to get along with the racist cheerleader who we talked about earlier, Mia. And the thing is, Drew is black and Mia is white. So they have to work through their issues and learn to be friends. So there's a lot that goes on in that book, and I really, really like it. Will warn you if you want to read it. It does have some typos. I'm sorry. The second to last book in the series is called Almost Brave. This one is the most ADHD book I have ever written because the main character, Gina Russo, she has ADHD and she is also in ENFJ, if you happen to know what that is, according to the Myers-Briggs personality types. But anyway, she is a teacher at South Louisiana High, and she wants to find out, one day, Unseen, who is also the superhero in this town. There was an Unseen who was a superhero in Alabama. Now there's an Unseen who's a superhero in this town. So one day, Gina is almost in a really bad accident and Unseen saves her life, and she becomes determined to find out who Unseen is. But as she tries to unmask her hero, she realizes that her town is full of mutants and that there's also an evil mutant who is doing terrible things to people. And she has to save the day and stop this evil mutant from killing everybody in her town. So the book is called Almost Brave because even though Gina is super bubbly and charismatic, she hasn't quite found her footing in life. And it comes down to a lack of courage. So in order to save people's lives in her town, she has to find her courage or her bravery. So that's why the book is called Almost Brave. And I do really, really like Gina's character. But like I said, the book, it's, mostly written from her perspective. So it is very ADHD. The last book in my series, the South Louisiana High series, it is my favorite book ever. I don't think, honestly, anyone else would like it. But I identify with this character more than I identify with any other character I've ever written about. This was the first book that I wrote in the series. And because of this book, I was like, you know what? This doesn't make sense as a standalone. I should write all the things that happened leading up to this. So that's what happened with this. This is called Almost Human. And the main character, I'm not going to lie, she's basically pretty much me. Except she's better. And she's younger. But I started writing this book when I was her age. I started writing this when I was 17, and the reason I started was because one day I was watching this really hot guy play basketball in the gym, and I had a crush on him since forever. And he was really, really nice to me, but I was so shy I couldn't talk to him. So he would like try to talk to me, and I'd just be like, oh yeah, I wouldn't say anything. But one day I was watching him play basketball in the gym, and I started writing, like imagining, like what if he was like, what if he had superpowers and I found the courage to talk to him? How would that go? What would happen? So this is just my insane imagination, and it is a huge book. It's like, how many pages is this? Y'all, this book is 751 pages long. I'm not even lying. It's a lot. But anyway, I'll tell you what it's about. The main character, Lainey Russell, she's a senior at South Louisiana High, and she's been in love with her best friend, Randall, since ninth grade. She's kept her 4-year-long crush a secret, though, because 4 years is also how long he's been dating Mia, the racist cheerleader. That's nice. Also, Lainey's black, so, that's great. The way his girlfriend treats her is fantastic. Anyhow, as Lainey struggles to keep her feelings hidden, her best friend struggles to keep several massive secrets of his own. Randall hasn't told Lainey about his superhuman abilities, or that one of the world's most powerful organizations is systematically tracking down people like him and forcibly using them for experimental research. So basically, this kid is on the run from a huge organization, huge and very powerful organization. And he's constantly stressed out because of that, but he hasn't told Lainey. But one day, a woman with abilities like Randall shows up at his school and threatens everyone he cares about. So Randall is forced to reveal his identity to Lainey. He has to tell her about his powers. And from the moment Lainey and Randall let go of their secrets, a series of shared adventures ensue. They travel to a world, another planet, yeah, where nearly everyone has powers like Randall's. And once they're away from the confines of Earth, they discover that they are in love with each other. So Almost Human is the last book in the South Louisiana High series. It features every main character from all of the 5 preceding books, and it brings each of their stories to a conclusion. So that's why the book is so long, because it's like the ending to everything. Unseen's origins, that's the superhero who protected both Alabama and the small town in Louisiana. Their origins and the future of all humanity are revealed in this final installment of the South Louisiana High series. So, like I said, I love that book, but it's got typos, so I don't know that other people would be able to put up with it. Also, it's super long, but I like it. I'm going to be honest, I don't think I'm a very good writer, but so I never know, like, if anyone would really like my books. But they exist. So if you want to read something, please feel free. Enjoy yourself. All right, that is it for this week's YouTube video. It was kind of a strange one. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a great week. And sorry about all the noise in the background. It's storming outside. Okay, I'm done now.